Good morning, everybody. My name is Bill Whitty. I'm Chairman and CEO of Related California. We are one of the city's and state's largest developers, interestingly, of both affordable housing and mixed income and market rate housing. We have 10 developments in the city of San Francisco currently, many under construction. 7 are all affordable, 3 are mixed income. All of our team, which we will introduce, have worked together before. 2 of our developments are close by. We are co-developers with Mission Housing of the Balboa Park Art site, which is in planning, and co-developers with Mercy Housing of the redevelopment of the 50-acre Sunnydale public housing site in Visitation Valley. Let me briefly introduce our team, all of whom are here. Sares Regis Group of Northern California, one of the Bay Area's largest and most successful developers of for-sale and multifamily infill housing. Curtis Development, Charmaine Curtis, until recently a Sunnyside resident, longtime San Francisco developer and planner of urban neighborhood communities. TNDC, one of the city's most successful nonprofits with a citywide portfolio, who is our partner on 3 other mixed income developments in San Francisco. Our design team, led by all San Francisco based, led by Var Architects, the master planner and lead architect, Levy Design Partners and YA Studio, and Monica Wilson, with whom we have worked very successfully on other developments in San Francisco on local hiring and minority business enterprise development. We all work together. We're not new to each other. But a little bit of history first. In the 80s, I was Mayor Feinstein's Director of Housing and Economic Development, and then briefly Mayor Agnos' Deputy Mayor for Housing. And as some of you may recall, there were 3 ballot measures on this site way back then to develop. 2 of them failed. The lesson I took from that is, if you don't have this, however noble the objective, if you don't have the support of the neighborhood and stakeholders, such as City College, you're going to fail. So to that end, I commend the Community Advisory Board that worked with the city over the last 2 years to try to arrive at a consensus to accomplish multiple public policy objectives. What are our objectives here? A family-friendly community, not just buildings, that complements and integrates with the neighborhood. Quality affordable housing that is distributed across the whole site, not sequestered in individual buildings, and that is physically indistinguishable from the market rate housing. Many amenities that are open to the entire community. And frankly, an economic proposal, and this is important, that can, 1, pay for the affordable housing, potentially all of it, and the open space. 1/3 of our site is devoted to open space. Contribute something to the Public Utilities Commission, who owns the site. Find finally a solution financially to pay for new parking for City College, and also to provide a preference for educators, which I will describe later. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Hagelin, the principal at Var Architects, and our landscape architect, David Fletcher, to walk you through the proposal.
Hello, everybody. Excuse me. My name is Chris Hagelin. I'm with Var Architects here in San Francisco. And I'm here with David Fletcher from Fletcher Studio, Landscape Architects. And also, we have 2 other architects on the team, YA Studio and Levy Design Partners. So we're very excited to be a part of this project. It's a really interesting opportunity, amazing site. And really, when the team started this project and started looking at the site, we spent a lot of time out here really trying to understand the site. It's an amazing and interesting mix of single-family homes, a little bit higher density buildings along Ocean Avenue, a high school that we're in now, and City College. So really a great opportunity for us. And we established some goals right at the beginning before we really started drawing anything. And there were 5 main goals that we set forward, and we think we've achieved them all. The first was to do a design that was based on open space, not so much on architecture or exactly what the buildings look like. We have a long time to think about that. But the open space, we wanted a variety of spaces, some big, some small, some active, some more passive. We wanted to create a large buffer along the western edge adjacent to the Westwood single-family homes that would be a very passive space. We wanted a goal of about a third of the site to be public open space. The second goal is to minimize the height of the buildings, and especially along the western Westwood edge. And we've done that with a series of 2- and 3-story townhomes. We wanted to have no building on the site that was taller than the newish buildings along Ocean Avenue. And actually most of our buildings are lower than that. And whatever taller buildings that we had would be on the east side of the site towards City College. The third goal was to have the site focus on pedestrians and bicycles and not vehicles, and to not have any vehicular connections from the site into the Westwood neighborhood. The fourth goal was to regrade the site. It's a very complex site, it's a big pit, a big hole, and so we're proposing to create a very gently sloping site that would go from the high side near the high school, heading toward the towards the south. I think it will create a better, more accessible site, better for pedestrians, bikes, and better for the open space. And then the fifth goal was to focus our activity towards City College, and that we would have a small amount of retail, childcare, community center, bike repair, pet center, apartment leasing office, and potentially other things based on dialogue with the community. And with that, I'm going to turn over to David Fletcher, who's going to talk more about that.
So again, to reiterate something that Bill said, that a great plan will really come from a collaboration with you, with the community, and all the stakeholders. But what we put forward today, we're quite proud of, and it's a result of a very creative core team who master plan you're seeing. Actually, can you go back to the previous slide? Thank you. So one of the things to note, and I'm going to be brief about this, is about 6 acres, or a third of the site, is set aside as open space. The open space is not cloistered in the core that you know neighbors would have to kind of walk through buildings to get to, and it's actually spread throughout the site in 3 primary areas. But in essence, what we've done is create an open space network that forms or represents the intersection between kind of nature and public life. Water is crucial to the history or the symbolic meaning of the site, and will continue to be so through the future. So what I want to point out to you is that the SFQC near Ocean easement would combine with what we're calling the Westwood Green. The existing berm would be regraded down and made usable, but the buffer that the berm presents right now, or exists as, would continue to be living in the form of a forest, or what we call a charm bracelet of activities and uses that are arrayed along it, that would include informal recreation, community gardens, and a dog area. Then if we want to, thank you very much, go down to Brighton Avenue. There's another space that we see as not a street, but as a large urban plaza. It would be a curbless street on Brighton. And then below it would be a core stormwater area that would receive water and celebrate water as celebrate life, and offer a public open space that's a little informal, a little wild, in the transitions up to the Westwood Green to the north. Then the Reservoir Square would be below that and be an active open space for the community where community meetings would occur, possibly farmers markets and other uses where everybody would come together. Next. So this slide distills the network that we created, the buffer zone that is shown as the Westwood Green that would go along to the SFQC going east-west, actually on the other side. Also, it shows over a half mile of pedestrian and bicycle trail networks, and then a vehicular loop that surrounds the central space, the internal buffer of the Mount Davidson Green. And then a very subtle thing where the roads are not just straight roads, but they're kind of tuned to their hinge points, and it offers an informal edge where nature is coming in and kind of blurring the boundaries and blurring the lines through the site and knitting everything together. Thank you.
Just going to talk real quickly about the buildings a little bit. So really one of the key features to the project on the lower side of this slide here on the western edge are a good portion of our site is made up of 2- and 3-story townhomes. Those townhomes are sitting on top of 2 fairly large underground parking structures. Those parking structures provide the parking for the entire site, including the multifamily buildings that are along Lee. By putting the parking underground and wrapping them with units, it really creates a wonderful space up at the townhomes that's devoid of cars. It's a great kid-friendly space and a great pedestrian zone. The buildings that are towards City College to the east are a series of 3- to 5-story buildings. They have semi-public landscape courtyards. They are on grade because there's no parking below them. Those buildings are connected by a series of pedestrian pathways. And all of the units on those buildings that face the street or the open space have front stoops. The stoops help create activity, create eyes on the street, better safety in the neighborhood. So as a quick overview of the plan, we're just getting started. We think we've got some great ideas on the overall framework of the plan, but we look forward, as the design team looks forward to working with all of you in the future. Bill?
Thank you. Let me quickly walk you through the particulars of the development program. There's a lot of information here, and we can't, deal with it all in this short time. But let me summarize. So we have a total of 680 residences. We did not preordain a number. We let the plan yield the number. 1/3 of the site, as Chris said, is open space. 186 of the units are for sale housing, 120 in 2- and 3-story townhouses, 66 in taller buildings. Those are affordable for sale, 120 are market rate. 494 rental units, 219 are market rate, 275 are affordable, but again, the affordable is integrated into all of those buildings.
You have 3 minutes.
45% of the rental units are family size, 2+ bedrooms. 95% of the for sale units are family size. And finally, a 25% preference, 55 units for City College faculty or San Francisco Unified School District teachers. Let me quickly introduce Charmaine Curtis, who will talk you through our community engagement process. I will only say, even though I'm the CEO, I'm going to participate actively on them. I like to hear for myself what you all have to say.
Good morning, everyone. I've got to talk fast now. Charmaine Curtis, Curtis Development, and if our team is selected, I'm the development partner who's going to work most closely with all of you on refining a plan for the site and working through the entitlement process with the city. So first of all, I want to say that we genuinely understand and appreciate what a big deal this is for all of you and for all the neighborhoods surrounding this site. Until recently, I lived in Sunnyside with my husband and 2 kids, and my history with the site actually goes back to about 12 years ago when I learned to ride a motorcycle on it. So I've been around here. I get it. I understand what the concerns are and are likely to be as we go forward. So I was going to say that we've worked on some big complex projects and been able to craft really win-win solutions with communities through open communications. I'll leave it there. We've worked on big projects. We've made things work with communities where everybody at the end of the day was happy with the result, or at least most people. And we've gotten votes at the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors that really support that. For this project, there will be multiple opportunities for everybody to weigh in along the way and to help shape this plan as it evolves. And the cornerstone of our community engagement effort is going to be a series of workshops where we're going to get to drill down on specific issues and share information and hear from all of you and listen to the people who are going to be most affected by development on the site. We won't submit any applications to the city until we have a plan that's been extensively vetted by you and everybody who cares about this project. We're going to err on the side of over-communication with you. Hopefully you won't get sick of hearing from us, but we'd rather annoy you with too much than too little. And last, respectful, honest communications. That's the fundamental basis for building trust, and that's our main goal, is to have a trusting and respectful relationship with all of you to get to a plan that's great for this community. So, Bill, you want to wrap up? That, I think, we've got
Questions. Now on to questions now.
Let me just say, we typically don't sell our developments. We are long-term owners, so we become neighbors in the community. So we're looking here not to build a project, but to join your community. Thank you, and we'll obviously take questions.
All right, let's thank you. Thank you very much to the properties and Sares, Regis, and others. We've got a series of questions coming in. As a complete surprise, where will the parking garage be and how many spaces are being provided in the parking arrangement that you've presented?
I'm going to have Chris Hagelin, our architect, answer where the parking will be, but I also want to comment, because I just alluded to it on the City College parking. Our idea, which the city would have to go along with, is that we are paying enough in land price to afford to pay everybody who has a stake in this some money, and to contribute money to pay for a new garage for City College on the City College property. That can be discussed, the details how many, but we believe that that is very doable. Yes.
So we're proposing to have somebody, there we go. Okay, so the parking is all located in a garage that is underground here and here, and there are approximately 380 parking spaces in those two garages. And access would be coming off of this new Brighton Avenue along there.
It's exactly half the number of units.
It's about 0.6 spaces per unit, correct?
Okay, another question while we have that up is about the total acreage devoted to open space. Maybe you can quickly address that one.
There are, I believe, 5.8 acres, as Chris and David walked through, devoted to public open space. So that's about a third of the site.
And there was a question about the height of buildings along the City College side, and there was a concern that maybe from a community design standpoint that the City College would be walled off from the development. Was that the intent? How are you handling that interface? And I think the question proposer was also concerned about the idea of partnering with City College, so they didn't want to create a barrier along that edge.
So the buildings that we're proposing along City Colleges, there's 4 buildings here, relatively small buildings. Each of those buildings would have maybe 80 to 100 units. This site will still step from the high point along Lee Avenue. It kind of slopes this way and slopes this way. So along the edge of Lee, the buildings will be somewhere in the 3 to 4 story range. And then they will, the hillside steps down, so the buildings step down 1 or 2 stories. Overall, 3 to 5 stories is the height anticipated through these buildings here. But they're quite small blocks, smaller than a typical city block.
There's also a fair amount of, for lack of a better word, porosity. Because they're smaller buildings, there's a lot of openings, including in that central public space corridor.
So the next question had to do with affordable housing. Is there a time period for the ownership by which it will remain affordable, and how will you guarantee affordability over the long term?
So 1 minute left for questions.
With respect to the time period for affordability, it's an easy answer on the rental side. There is a long tradition that we and others have participated in on rental housing of establishing a legal long-term covenant which is effectively permanent. It's usually 55 years, but it can frankly be more, so that the rental units sprinkled among our developments carry that covenant. They will always be affordable. On the for sale side, there is a tradition, which actually we started when I was with the city in the 80s, on affordable for sale housing, of carrying resale restrictions on the affordable units, so the first buyer doesn't get a windfall when they sell, and that's how we would do that.
Okay, very good. That wraps up the question period. Let's get to number 1. Your attention once more. Okay, so the question has to do with the interface between the development and Sunnyside and the other West Side neighbors. We want to make sure that there's an understanding of how the traffic circulation works in that respect. Where are the car access points in and out of the development? That ties in with that question. Back on the questions related to housing. Do we have rental or ownership housing or some combination? What's the mix between condo units and rental units? The mix between condo and rental units with respect to affordable housing? And then finally, is there retail space included in the development? I'll give this set of questions to Bill, and then you can manage the 5-minute time accordingly. So Bill, take it away.
So the first question dealt with the interface and with the neighborhood and Sunnyside in particular. So Chris, why don't you maybe refer to the plan?
Okay, I'll walk everybody through the vehicular, pedestrian, and bike access. So, again, just to orient everybody, this is City College. North is to the right, the high school here, and Westwood neighborhood here. So we anticipate cars coming in off of Lee Avenue, which crosses Ocean, and would come into the site and along this eastern edge. And then we're creating a small loop road that comes through the site here. So you come in just the way you do now off of Phelan down here, and cars could come around here. You would enter the garage that we mentioned earlier along this new Brighton Avenue at 2 points here. There would be no vehicles penetrating into the neighborhood to the west. Brighton Avenue, which comes in off of Ocean, will not go through for vehicles, so that would just be pedestrian and bikes. And up here at Plymouth, again, no vehicles, but potentially bicycles and pedestrians. We anticipate keeping this connection here that goes into the neighborhood, again, as a bike and pedestrian access only, and potentially an opportunity for connection here along the northwest corner.
How would you get out in an emergency?
Let me just add one thing. I know there have been a lot of questions we've gotten in the interim about access. This is a first shot. The key thing for us was not vehicular access, but there are other ways that access can be controlled as well. I mean, as we said, we haven't had the chance to go out to real community meetings. This is our attempt to respond to what we heard in terms of goals. The other question, rental or ownership, I did briefly touch on this, but of the 680 total residences, 166 of those are for sale. And of the 166 for sale, 66 are affordable for workforce housing. Now, what does that mean? Well, the city has very specific guidelines about that. Affordable for sale at those income levels are homes selling or condos selling for in the $550,000 range. Now, that used to be a lot, and I don't say that, but in today's hyperinflated world, that is way, way, way below the market, which might be 3 times that at this location. On the rental side, there are 494 rental units, of which, I'll give you the exact number, slightly more affordable. 219 of those are market rate, 275 are affordable, and affordable will be distributed throughout the rental buildings. They will not just be in one building. I think that was, oh, do we have retail space? We do not at the moment have retail space. Now, just as a proposal, there's 2 reasons for that. One, we are obviously proximate to Ocean Avenue, which is where retail space in this community has typically been. Number 2, we have retail space within the development. It does add to parking questions. And number 3, at an economic level, what I might call interior retail usually doesn't work very well, because it's limited access, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't mean we couldn't. The plan doesn't currently have it.
1 minute left on questions.
Okay, I think that may actually wrap it up in terms of the overall arching question themes. Let's once again give our